Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say, call hello, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kodash. Send double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to Yakim out there pushing the word of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, sincerely and true. This is Brother Ariala. This is a continuation of the 12 Tribes Review. And today, what we're going to review is the tribe of Zebulon. Yes, the tribe of Zebulon. And as you can see here, that is from Guatemala to Panama. The Central American natives, so to speak. Now, this tribe is very close to Issachar. As you can see, Mexico is on its border. So you have a lot of the information from the Issachar 12 tribe review that actually follows along with Zebulon, because you have a lot of those Mayans there dwelling in those lands, and there's a lot of information going back linking a lot of the customs that they did back to the nation of Israel. But for this lesson, I wanted to go here, and I want to basically also too, when you look in this chapter, I always want to go back and say this. Genesis 49:1. Jacob called his sons and said, "Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days." Just as a reminder that these are prophecies that Israel set over his sons, and we can use these prophecies as indicators to identify the tribes. Okay, just 1 second. So skipping down here, when you go and you read this, Genesis 49:13, it says, "And Zebulon shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon." Now, when you check this out, and let's say you go to a 12 tribes map, you can see that Zebulon is landlocked, and it's not bordering Zidon. So what is this talking about? When you look here, and this is why we can identify this area, you can see that Central America is a haven for ships, like it's surrounded by water, which is why famously you have the Panama Canal, and it's definitely an identifier, and along all of these coasts here, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, all of these places are known for its beauty. They have all types of places where people come and visit their beaches. Gorgeous, gorgeous place. And we know about historically all the ships that have crossed through here at Panama, hence the haven for ships. Now, I want to just get some quick information. Where am I going to go? So what I want to do is just read a little bit about the Panama Canal. Get a little information here. All right, so this is on Wikipedia. It says the Panama Canal is an artificial 82-kilometer waterway in Panama that connects the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, cutting across the Isthmus of Panama, and is a conduit for maritime trade. See how that links with the scripture? It shall be a haven for ships. You see that? A haven for ships, man. Okay, now what is an isthmus? Just want to get there real quick. An isthmus is a narrow piece of land with water on each side that joins two areas of land. Okay, and you can see that here. All right, joins two areas of land, and then you've got water on each side here. Okay, so an isthmus. Now going back, it says, and is a conduit for maritime trade. Locks at each end lift ships up to Gatun Lake, an artificial freshwater lake 26 meters above sea level, created by damming up the Charis River and Lake Alagela to reduce the amount of excavation work required for the canal. All right, so it talks about that. The Panama Canal shortcut greatly reduces the time for ships to travel between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, enabling them to avoid the lengthy, hazardous route around the southernmost tip of South America via the Drake Passage and Strait of Magellan, or the Beagle Canal. It is one of the largest and most difficult engineering projects ever undertaken. Okay, and so this basically saved a lot of lives, and through this route you have a lot of merchandise that gets passed in between there. Let me see. I'm going to play this real quick.
France began what would become one of the most challenging engineering projects ever undertaken. But disease plagued the French workforce, and up to a third of workers fell ill. After almost a decade, work ground to a halt. The canal was sold to the US 15 years later. The French suffered a considerable financial loss. But by the dawn of the 20th century, medical knowledge was finally capable of controlling outbreaks of tropical disease. The Americans opted for a new elevated lock system, which would hoist ships above sea level. Upon completion, the canal had cost a massive $639 million, enough to build 85 Titanics. But after 33 years of construction, the canal had claimed the lives of more than 25,000 people, more than 3/4 of these under French control. That's 500 deaths for every mile of canal. And some believe this toll to be even higher. It was a colossal achievement. A journey from the west coast of America to Europe was cut virtually in half, and from Shanghai to New York by 14%. Two foreign nations were responsible for its construction, but the canal was finally handed over to Panama in 1999. Uniting two oceans for the first time, the canal has earned its place in history as...
Boom. All right, so big deal, man. A lot of people died, a lot of corruption around it. If you do your research on it, you can find out more. But had a lot going on with that thing. Okay, so now I just want to get a little bit. I'm gonna play a little bit of this, just to give some more history, and that's pretty much it for the tribe of Zebulon.
Right, because they were speaking
page 332.
because they were speaking Hebrew, okay?
Original Indian traditions record that the province of Guatemala was in early ages colonized by the Jews, who assumed the names Toltecas and established a powerful monarchy in that district of America. Volume 8, page 9.
Which were Israelites, which are those Aztec and Mayan Indians,
Yep.
Incas, or whatever type of Indians was in that region. Okay?
It says Sahagún's history of New Spain does certainly contain many metaphors and figures of speech evidently derived from the scriptures, and which unequivocally prove the existence in former ages at least of the Hebrew language in America.
Right, because
Volume 8, page 163.
because when they came over to this side of the world, the so-called indigenous people, they were speaking the language and they were leaving certain relics of themselves. But then after a certain period of time, they lost it.
Columbus brought Hebrew interpreters with him. Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, Ronald Sanders, pages 92 and 93.
So read that real quick.
As a matter of fact, I got it right
Well,
here.
I got the thing right here.
Oh, you got the
Yep.
page right there?
Yep,
Okay.
we got the page. All right, I'm gonna read right to the point. It says, we do not know much concerning Columbus's crew of about 90 men aboard 3 ships, but at least one of them was an Israelite whose presence as such was not merely accidental. This was Luis de Torres, a convert of possibly only that year, who had once held a position with the governor of Murcia. He was said to have known Hebrew, Aramaic, and some Arabic, and had been brought along by Columbus specifically as an interpreter.
He was brought he was what? What? Read that apart again.
He said, and he had been brought along by Columbus specifically as an interpreter.
So the purpose of Luis de Torres to being brought over here was specifically to be an interpreter, because this devil knew where he was going. Don't listen to that bullshit in history that tells you that Columbus was looking for another route to India. That's the same bullshit that they teach you that Columbus discovered America. That's another fucking lie. So he wasn't coming this route to seek another route to India. He was coming over here because he knew that this land existed and the Hebrew Israelites were over here. That's why he quoted scriptures out of the Apocrypha in that movie 1492 or Conquest 1492 or whatever the hell the name of that movie is.
14 something, yeah. It says, one of the purposes of the voyage, as we have seen, was to find the Great Khan.
Which is a goddamn lie, because he's trying to say the Great Khan of like in the land of India. Go ahead.
And Torres was to be the mouthpiece for this encounter, presumably on the basis of his Hebrew. Perhaps Columbus and his supporters had decided that the Great Khan, reported on by Marco Polo and others, might be the Israelite king who dwelt across the river from Prester John.
Right, so they basically throw their bullshit in there, but the truth is that the reason why Columbus brought a Hebrew interpreter with him was for the purpose of communicating with the people that were here. And that's why certain other European sources say that, like for instance, in the land of Hispaniola, among the so-called Dominicans, it's when they encountered them, they were speaking Hebrew. When Montesinos in Lost Tribe of the Promised Land, you know the.
Boom. So yeah, that was just a little bit more information showing you how Columbus brought Hebrew interpreters with him because he already had known from reading the scriptures that the Israelites had been traveling over to this part of the land. So I just wanted to play a little bit more on that, and on to the next one. Lord willing, that was edifying. Shalom.